A curious thought. What if 100,000 people jumped at the exact same moment? Would the earth shake? Could it cause an earthquake? As a kid, this was one of my many questions about the world that I couldn't get an answer to. And now, as a somewhat more experienced member of society, I am pleased to inform you that we have the technology to find out. And before we start, if you like optimistic science and tech stories, consider subscribing for more. It really helps me out. Thanks. So let us imagine 100,000 people are lined up shoulder to shoulder on the surface of the earth and they all jump. To make things easier, let's assume that every single person jumps exactly 30 centimeters into the air. That's about a foot for all you Americans out there. Now, this may seem like a lot of people, and it is. But when you compare it to the mass of the earth, which is 5.97 times 10 raised to the 24th power kilograms, or roughly 6 sextillion, 758,321,999,999 kilograms, suddenly 100,000 people don't seem like that much. Even if you took the weight of all the people on the planet, which is around 6,195,579 kilograms, and divided it by the mass of the earth, you only get 12%. So even if every single person on the planet jumped at the same time, it would change the Earth's position or orbit by absolutely zero. However, the people doing the jumping would feel a slight vibration in the ground beneath them. It would probably feel like a small earthquake, but only to those who were there. Real earthquakes are caused by massive shifts in the tectonic plates that make up the Earth's crust. These shifts can release enormous amounts of energy, often resulting in the shaking of the ground. The energy released during an earthquake can be as much as 10 raised to the 21st power joules. For some real-world context, a typical 100-watt light bulb uses up about 3.6 times 10 raised to the 19th power joules of energy per year. So the energy released during a small earthquake is still millions of times greater than the energy that would be released from 100,000 people jumping at the same time. But here's the thing. While the Earth itself would not be affected in any noticeable way, the moment 100,000 people hit the ground after their jump, they would cause a huge mess. When 100,000 people are standing next to each other, they take up a lot of space. But when they're all jumping up and down at the same time, they would take up even more space. Everyone would be kicking up dust, and the air would be filled with the sound of 100,000 feet hitting the pavement. It would be like being at the mosh pit of the biggest concert in the world. Except instead of music, you're surrounded by the sounds of 100,000 people grunting as they jump. So while the Earth wouldn't notice 100,000 people jumping at once, the people doing the jumping would certainly notice. They would feel a mini quake unlike any they had ever experienced before. And they would also witness one of the most spectacular dust clouds in human history. In fact, there's a good chance that someone would film it and the video would go viral. People around the world would watch in amazement as 100,000 people turn what looks like a normal street into a massive dust cloud. So yeah, 100,000 people jumping at once wouldn't destroy the Earth, but it would be a pretty fun thing to see. Thanks for watching this episode. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe for more. And remember, if I ever say anything that offends you, please take it up with the algorithm. It's not my fault.